Hey folks, I think you might get a kick out of this. This is an excerpt from a Twitch stream we did some number of weeks ago. It's actually quite a short little video, but this is back when we were still talking about Rings of Power and Lord of the Rings. And so the subject got on to just adaptations in general and what is the point of them. And that's why it starts with a little chunk about Elric, because somebody asked about adapting Elric. And this gets into my philosophy about, about art, which is not unique to me. And you should be warned that I use quite a lot of profanity in this video for two reasons. First of all, because I talk like an adult in the live streams, but also because I feel pretty strongly about this stuff. And so that is how I express the strength of my feeling. So if you have any little kids around, maybe shoo them out of the room. Otherwise, no spoilers. What was that question? Let's check the video. Just started the Elric books. Honestly, don't think any movie would be as awesome to how those books play out in my brain. Lars really liked Elric. He was like, it's really hard to get Lars to like say anything more positive than, yeah, it was cool. He was like, I really liked it. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, but he's like halfway through. And he's like, it's fucking amazing. Like, he just wants to talk about Elric. If they made a movie out of Elric, I would be interested. And I might see it, I might not, depends on the choices they made. But I would hope that whoever was making the movie about Elric had some kind of vision for it that was theirs, that belonged to them. Otherwise, why am I watching your fucking adaptation, for Christ's sake? If you don't have an opinion about this stuff, if you weren't inspired, if there weren't things in there that you thought were junk and you want to throw them out, and other stuff that you fucking love. Somebody asked a question. This is one of the best questions we got on stream, by the way. Somebody asked me, what would you add to the Lord of the Rings if you were going to make your own adaptation of the Lord of the Rings? What shit would you put in there that Tolkien never thought of? And that is a good fucking question. Everybody should have an answer to that question. Everybody, when you think about your favorite shit, everybody should it should inspire you. Otherwise, why is it your favorite? Just because you remember it well? Is that literally it? I've just read it so many times that I remember it, and I don't actually have any affection for the world and the characters, and I've never dreamed dreams of being in that world and doing things. And I thought I had a pretty good answer, by the way. And the answer I gave, because I actually got paid to think about this a little bit, was when the video game company I was working at got bought by Electronic Arts. Electronic Arts, we were between games. We had just shipped a big game. And so we had about 6 weeks to just kind of decompress and fuck around and explore ideas. I don't know if video game companies do this in this day and age. It's kind of a luxury. They didn't just fire everybody when the game was shipped. They didn't make the game primarily with contract artists, and then the contract is up, and so they don't have to pay anybody anymore. And so EA came to us and said, by the way, we have the rights to do games set in Middle-earth. Do you guys have any pitches? And so they came to the design team, and they said, you guys interested in pitching games to EA set in the Lord of the Rings universe? And I think I had 2 pitches, and one of them made it to the final round. And the pitch was, this was at the time we were also pitching a game set during World War II, where it would be black and white. The whole game would be in black and white, and you're a member of the French resistance. And as you spark resistance behind enemy lines and get people to stand up to the Nazis, color starts to come back into the world. And they made that game, just not with our team. And so that's kind of where our heads were at that time. And so I pitched a game where you play the Nazgul. Not one of the Nazgul. You would be able to switch back and forth between Nazgul, right? And I thought, yeah, it should be, you are playing, you get to switch between the different Nazgul. I even think I pitched that there would be a button on the controller, and you press that button and you would instantly switch to a different Nazgul, so it was dynamic. You could, at any time you wanted, you could basically leave the AI in charge of this Nazgul, and it would do its best to try to, and I just made a list, because it's a 1-page pitch, right? That's it. That's how it starts off. It's a 1-page pitch. And so it talked about the shit you would be able to do as a Nazgul. And I had a whole list of stuff, and I don't remember what they all were. But the last one was raise the bones of Smaug and recruit an undead dragon. And then the last thing was serve the lidless eye. And I think the name of the game was literally just Nazgul. That's it, right? And it would be kind of like what Shadows over Mordor became, except you playing the other side. In that it would be very heavily it would be kind of like a strategy narrative game, right? where you had a kind of a big world view of what was going on and trying to start fires everywhere and trying to switch back. You could send Nazgul to different, it was cool. So it was a lot. I spent a lot of time thinking about that, and I'm like, that would be fucking cool. I would love to see, I would love to see a Hobbit done in a kind of not even young adult, like a children's book style. I think you could do 2 Hobbit movies, right? Part 1 and part 2, and have them be whimsical and fun and out of the frying pan into the fire. And then do your serious Lord of the Rings adaptation. And can you fucking imagine the point in Matt Colville's Lord of the Rings movies where the audience, especially the nerds in the audience, would start saying, wait a minute, what the fuck? Are they going to fucking resurrect Smaug from that first movie? That didn't fucking happen in the, right? Like, I guarantee you, I would have them by the balls, right? And it's like, this didn't happen in the book, but it would have been cool if it did, right? That's the kind of way everybody I know thought about properties back in the late 80s, early 90s when we were teenagers and stuff. That's one of the reasons one of the first things that happens in the Chain of Acheron is they go into fucking Star Trek land, right? And they recapitulate an entire plot of a Star Trek episode because that was the Witch King of Angmar on an undead Smaug. Holy fuck, right? I guarantee you I would have them. People would be like, that was amazing. I didn't know I wanted to see that. And it doesn't have anything to do with what happened in the actual books, but it's cool as fuck, right? And it would show a lot of thought, right? I thought about this, like, what if? It's a what if. Yeah. So that's what when my friends and I were teenagers and even in the 90s, the way we showed how much we loved the fiction that we read was we wanted to participate in it in some sense. We didn't write fan fiction, although lots of people did, but we stuck it in our D&D games because we fucking loved that shit, or our RPGs, right? We saw these worlds as like, as places to visit and adventure and create content for. And, that's it. I worked on the Lord of the Rings RPG, a Lord of the Rings RPG, the Dune RPG, the Dune CCG, the Star Trek RPG. And the fun for all of us was getting to play in that playground. There would be no fun if all we were doing was highlighting sentences from the original work and then handing them off to a screenwriter and saying, or a cinematographer and saying, here, shoot this. That's not fun. That sounds like homework, actually, right? The fun was the original ideas we had and playing around, playing in that sandbox. There's no point in spending the money on this stuff if you're not going to get excited to play with these tools, right? Imagine if I owned Star Trek, the crazy fucking stories I would want to tell that would be completely original, but they would definitely be Star Trek. My Star Trek would have Medusans on every bridge. So yeah, that was it. I once worked for a company, EA in this instance. They had the rights to make Lord of the Rings video games, and they were like, what would you guys make? And I thought I had a pretty cool idea for a pitch, and I would absolutely put that into a movie, and I think people would like it. Thanks for watching. We just released packet number 3 from our ongoing Kickstarter, Flee Mortals, which means we have released quite a lot of, I think it's about 100 stat blocks right now, including companions and retainers, which you can download right now and start using if you pre-order the book. Links in the doobly-doo. This packet contains, I believe, the MCDM kobolds, which are pretty awesome. I'm really happy with them, along with owlbears, chimera, hellhounds, a bunch of other stuff. This packet includes a new scenario. This is a competitive sort of PvP scenario, no dungeon master required, featuring our kobolds, which is very cool. I think you will get a big kick out of that. And again, that's a scenario you can play tonight. All you gotta do is pre-order the book and then download the packet. That's it, folks. See you maybe next week. I'm working on a script right now about how to make combat more fun in what I think is a pretty straightforward way. Until next time, peace out.